guys, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be filming part 1 to my June wrap up. So it's a little after the middle of the month and I've already read 10 books, which is insane because last month was my best reading month and I read 11. So reading 10 in the first half of the month is crazy, but I still have Summerthon and some more reading time at the beginning of the Book Junkie trials this month, so I'm going to be reading a lot more, so I figured I'd get these first 10 out of the way talking to you guys. I'm so sorry, I'm the actual worst. These are all library books, which is like a good thing that I'm using the library, but also I have a lot of books that I own that I haven't read, but you know, it's fine. But yeah, so I don't have anything to like show you, so I guess I don't have to be, I can be more center. I don't know. But my bookshelf is here for some reason. I have my notebook here with my 10 books I read and their ratings, so if I look down, you know, that's what I'm looking at. But yeah, I'm sorry I don't have anything to show you guys what the books looks like, and I don't know how to insert photos. I don't think you can on iMovie on your phone, so sorry, I can't do that. But yeah, I'm just gonna talk to you and I hope you guys enjoy. So the first book I read in June was Chedwin Bone by Leigh Bardugo, which is the first book in the Grishaverse, in the Grisha trilogy. And I was surprised by how much I liked it because I have heard very mixed things, like either you really like it or you hate it. So I didn't know where I was gonna end up, but I really think that the first 150 pages of the book or so were my favorite, and then the book just went somewhere and I wasn't 100% with it, and the like, I don't even know how to explain it without spoiling it. But yeah, the book did something and I didn't want it to, basically. And so I gave the book 4 stars because, like I said, I really enjoyed the beginning, and I thought the power system, or the magic system, and the world were very interesting, and the fact that in this, I should probably give a synopsis too. I've talked about this in a reading vlog over here. I think, if not, I'm sorry, but my reading vlogs will be posted up here. But basically, this is about a girl who has grown up as a foster child with her friend Mal, and she just went into the army. She's, you know, living her life trying to be a cartographer, make some maps, and basically in the middle of a fight, she ends up using this power that she didn't know she had, which attracts the attention of the Darkling, which is like the most powerful, it's not magician, but this most powerful person basically, who has a lot of powers. And so she gets taken from her place in the second army, which is like the human army, and is put into the first army, which is the Grisha army, which is made up of the Grisha who have powers. But yeah, so yeah, like I said, I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I'm intrigued to see where Siege and Storm goes, but yeah, I just think that the beginning of the book was, for me, my favorite part, so I didn't really like the second half, I guess. And then we had Smutathon, and I read 4 books for that. The first being The Hayden Game by Sally Thorne, which is about 2 co-workers who hate each other, basically, and it is a hate to love romance. It was good. I gave it a 3.5 stars, but that's also, I kind of felt pressure to give it a higher grade, so on Goodreads I gave it a 4, but like I said, it's a 3.5. But honestly, enjoyment level for me, it was more of a 3, because I just was going through some things during this time, and I don't want to talk about it, but if you saw my Smutathon vlog, you know what I'm talking about. Because I had an emotional breakdown and cried. It's fine. But yeah, so the other gripe that I had with this book was that from the beginning, they didn't hate each other. They were just attracted to each other. And do you know when you like someone and you're kind of a jerk to them sometimes? And you like play with them and like you're like, ah, like that's what it seemed like. So yeah, just a 3.5 for me. I know a lot of people gave it 5 stars, but that's just not the vibe that I got from it. So yeah. But by far my favorite book or books was the first 2 books in the Girl Meets Duke series by Tessa Dare, which the first one is the Duchess Steel, and this I gave 4 stars. And this follows I'm really bad at remembering character name, I'm so sorry, but it follows this girl who is like a seamstress, and one day she makes this wedding gown for the Duke and the soon-to-be Duchess, but then no one comes and picks up the gown that she spent all these hours on and hasn't been paid for. So she throws on the ugly gown and goes to the Duke's manor or whatever and basically demands him to pay. And he is desperate for a wife so that way he can continue his line. So he says, well, if you need money so bad, why don't you just marry me and I'll set you up in a house, I'll give you all the money you want, you just have this one kid for me and you're good. Which it sounds so bad and so like breeding, but like it was actually really good. And these were my like first really dives into romance, and this is my first historical romance that I ever read, but the dynamic between these 2 main characters was so good and I loved them so much. And the girl wasn't just standing up for herself, and she was just, I wish I knew their names, but I'm literally the worst, and I don't have, like, since you're on my phone, I don't have my Goodreads review to like check the names, so I'm sorry. The next book I read, like I said, was the second book in the series, which is The Governess Game, and this follows a side character from the first book, so it's more a companion novel, not a direct series, but we do see the first couple in this book, and like a good amount, like not like a companion novel where they just like come up for like 2 seconds and then leave. Like they had a good amount of page time. They came up like 2 or 3 times. But yeah, this follows this girl named Alex. I know her name. And she is really smart. She loves science and clocks, and she fixes clocks and makes sure that they're all, you know, set on the same time and they're all like correct. And she goes to fix this, I believe he's another Duke, his clocks, but he mistakes her for applying for the position of being like, the only word I think of is a nursemaid, but that's not really what it is, of being like a nanny to these 2 kids that have recently come into his life that he has to take care of. And he's known as like a rake and like a recluse and like, you know, I'm not allowed to say that, but a man. So yeah, so she's like, no, I just fix clocks, and then, you know, something happens, so she comes back and is this nanny, and they're just adorable. They're not as cute as the relationship with the first one. I think, honestly, I gave them both 4 stars, but the first book was by far better. This is probably more of like a 3.75 for the second one, but it was great. It was enjoyable. I had a fun time. I read it in a day to finish the prompt to read a book in 1 day, so yeah. And then the last book that I read for Smutathon was A Promise of Fire by Amanda Boucher, and this is a smutty fantasy. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. There's a really, alright, I gave it 3 stars, but I don't, it's more of like a 2 probably, I don't know. I'm conflicted because I did like enjoy reading it, but it was very problematic. The lines of like consent are sometimes like she's saying no, but in her head she's thinking yes, but he can't read her mind. He doesn't know that she's thinking yes, so all he's hearing is no, but he still goes after her and stuff, and that's just sort of not okay. That's not sort of okay, not okay, it's not okay. And then there's the whole, like, he kidnaps her because he calls her a kingmaker, and she's gonna help him be king and just take over the realm, and it's just, he kidnaps her, so it's like, is it Stockholm Syndrome? It's just like, there's a lot of things that are wrong. Please check out the Goodreads reviews if you want more information where they go into everything, because I've seen amazing reviews, and I can tell you mine's not that I don't have all of the information. But yeah, I would highly recommend, if you are thinking about picking this up, just read through those trigger warnings and stuff and see if you were okay. It's a very taboo book, in my opinion. So, because I also don't read taboo. I don't read, like, Age Gap or anything like that. I've never read that. So yeah, just be forewarned. So next I read Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare, because that was my monthly Cassandra Clare book, because I'm reading one book a month to hopefully finish the whole thing. I don't think I'll be able to do it this year, but maybe next year. But yeah, so I was up to Clockwork Prince, which is the second book in the Infernal Devices series, which follows this girl named Tessa, who is basically kidnapped by these two witches because she has this power that she's, I don't think this is a spoiler because it literally happens like in the beginning of the book. Basically, she can change shapes. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah. So basically, that's the setup of the first book, and obviously things happen. But yeah, I don't really want to go into it. But yeah, that's the setup for Clockwork Angel, and Clockwork Prince is just, you know, the continuation of the story. I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed it so much more than Clockwork Angel, because if you saw my previous wrap-up, I did not love Clockwork Angel. I gave it a 3-star. The only thing is that Clockwork Angel was a lot funnier than Clockwork Prince, but Clockwork Prince had more plot, and I feel like there was a lot more happening and a lot more progression and plot twists, which I enjoyed and kept me more engaged in the story than I was in Clockwork Angel. So yeah, 4 stars out of for that, and I'm super excited to go into Clockwork Princess in July. So next we have my reads for Buzzwordathon, which just finished, which was hosted, I didn't even say, Smutathon was hosted by Riley Marie and Lainey from Ginger Reads Lainey. So I'll have them links below. And then Buzzwordathon was hosted by Books and Lala, as well as Chanel Time. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. Again, links will be down below for everyone. And for that, I also read 4 books. So the first book that I read was actually my least favorite book of the month so far, and that was The Way You Make Me Feel by Maureen Gu. So this follows our main character, Clara Shin, who is basically a prankster, and she's always getting in trouble for throwing these pranks and having these huge disruptions in class and in school. And one time, one prank goes too far, and she is punished by her father to have to work at his Korean-Brazilian fusion food truck called the Cobra with her, like, enemy, I don't know, like a classmate she doesn't like. And basically, Clara's an annoying girl. She's literally doesn't care about the consequences of her actions for her or anyone else. She doesn't change, really. Like, at the end of the book, she still does something that hurts multiple people around her. She doesn't really care. And then she comes back and she's like, sorry about that annoying thing I just did. And they're like, it's okay. And I'm like, no, it's not. And like, my parents would actually kill me if I did what she pulled, if I pulled what she did. So I didn't like that. The only reason this book got 2 stars was because I love food trucks, and I had just watched Chef, which is an amazing movie if you've never seen it, and I just loved the Korean-Brazilian combination, and they actually talked through like what's in the food and like the making of the food, and that literally was the reason this book got more than 1 star. So yeah, don't check that one out, in my opinion. My best friend also read this book and also had the same opinion about Clara, so we talked about that. Yeah. Okay, back on the more positive note, I read P.S. I Like You by Casey West. This story follows our main character. I am so bad at names. Shoot. Okay, it follows our main character, what's her face, who one day writes the song lyric of like kind of a not common band, but like one of her favorite songs on her desk in chemistry, and the next day she shows up and someone has written the next line. So it starts being like a pen pal situation on her chemistry desk, and then she finds out, well, obviously it's a romance, so it's not spoiling, but basically she finds out it's a guy, and then it's a whole like, who wrote it? Who's my pen pal? Oh, I forgot to mention, for P.S. I Like You, there was another element which I didn't know about, is that there's like a songwriting element to it, and I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed that. And we see our main character trying to write songs and having a hard time, and I've not a songwriter, but I've tried to write songs multiple times, and I know the struggle of like having an idea in your head or getting like 2 good lines, but like having a hard time fulfilling the rest of the song, or if you have lyrics, getting a melody or some sort of music to go behind it. And it was just so cool to see that in a book too, and it was surprisingly cute, and I actually really enjoyed it. I read On the Fence by Casey West a few months ago, and I really didn't like it. I think it was also the main character was really annoying in that one, and also was like a little, I don't know how to explain it, was a little clueless and stuff. But yeah, so I really enjoyed this one a lot more, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Next, we're back in the 2 stars. Next, I read 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray, which I gave a 2.5 stars. This is a science fiction novel where like this girl's parents basically are extremely popular and smart physicists, and they have created this thing called the Firebird, which allows you to hop into different dimensions and occupy the version of yourself in that dimension. So yeah, and one day her father is killed, and she, like, the murderer gets away, and so she follows them through the dimension with her Firebird, along with this other guy, who's like another who is a grad student of her parents. And yeah, this book was really annoying. So basically half the book is romance, when it's not a romance book. It's not like it's marketed as a romance book with some sci-fi elements. Like, no, this is YA sci-fi. But also, this girl's father is dead, and she's like, who do I like? Who do I want to kiss? Why do I like this person? Like, all the time. Like, there's this unnecessary love triangle, and I'm like, girl, your dad just died. You're supposed to be finding his killer and like getting revenge or whatever, and you're talking about like, do I want to have sex with this boy? She just really annoyed me. The story was annoying. Nothing happened in the first 150 pages. Literally nothing happened. So yeah, the back half of the book was better, but like not really by much. So I gave like the back half of the book like a 3, and the first half like a 1.5 or 2. So that's how I got to a 2.5. I don't know. I feel like my rating system is like a little high because I don't want to give books 1 star, but like I had some bad ones this month, guys. And then we're gonna end with my highest rated book of the month, which was Listen to Your Heart by Casey West. I was not expecting to love this book as much as I did. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars, so close to that 5. But yeah, this is about our main character. Why am I the worst at names? Kate. Our main character, Kate. I should know that. That's my middle name. Our main character, Kate, who lives on a lake and just wants to graduate high school so she can take over her family business of running this lake shop, and like jet skis and stuff. And it's going into her junior year, I believe, and she signs up for this podcasting class because her friend Alana makes her do it, basically. Relatable. So, yeah, and the first day they have to come up with basically ideas for what the podcast can be about this year. She suggests that they have an advice show, and the idea gets picked, and what the teacher didn't mention was if your idea gets picked, you're a host. So Kate, who didn't want to do the podcast, just did it because of, like, just signed up for the class because of Alana, is now the host and is terrified. And it's just this really beautiful book about family and friendship and relationships without, like, there's a potential sticky situation that happens, and I just think that Casey West, like, went through it in such a beautiful way and such a careful way without making it seem like it was just, like, magically gonna work out, while also being realistic. And I think that it is super important to show realistic representations of relationships and, like, I don't want to say what I'm talking about, but basically there's something that comes up that's, like, very common in teenagers to come up, and it's just handled very well, and I really appreciated it. But yeah, it was a beautiful book. The use of podcasts in the book was amazing. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, it was great. Okay guys, so that was my wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Those are the 10 books that I've read in the first half of the month, and I can't wait to see how much I get to read in the second half of the month. Please check out the videos and things that are surrounding me right now, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!